Page 20, Grandma Tells a Ghost Story. I guess another horror movie going on here. And I look this over and I think, good Lord, what's going on here? What? Well, this kind of thing is where it really comes in handy if you have some sort of a plan of attack. How do you go about learning a piece of music? I've been using it in all the videos, the one that I use, and you can develop your own, but I'm going to trust that plan of attack to get me through this. And sometimes what it has done in the past, it gets me to a point where I realize, this is actually a little too hard for me right now. I can set it aside for later till I get better. That's happened too in the past. Anymore, I usually stick with it. I say, come on, you've done harder stuff than this. We can do this. So I'm going to trust the process I use and see where we get. First, I look it over. It's about 2 pages long. Now, there are repeat signs, but that's okay. It's just 2 pages of music to deal with. The treble and bass clef to start with. That could change in the middle. I don't care, but at least at the beginning it's treble and bass. There's one flat at the beginning. It's either an F major or D minor. If you look at the end or here, that's a D minor chord. And if it's a ghost story or horror thing, it's probably in minor anyway. That's okay. Do the scales and arpeggios for both, F major and D minor. And it could change key signatures in the middle too, but I'm interested at the beginning. That's what I do. And then 2 4-time signature with a pickup beat. Now I want a fingering that lets me connect the notes if I can get it. So right hand first, let's just check. I'll try their fingering. If I don't like it, and I won't, then I'll try another one. So at the beginning it's here, 4. Whoa, what's this in the second full measure? We have a dotted 8th note, and then we have these 2 notes with 3 bars going across. Well, 1 bar is an 8th note, 2 bars is a 16th, and 3 bars is a 32nd note. So it's just 2 quick notes. And usually too quick to count them. If I leave out the E flat, if I go here, like that, just do the F, then the F would be like a 16th note. 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2. I just got to stick in that little note, another note. 1 and 2. That's all it is. 1 E and a 2. And that's how I do it, because they're too fast to count. So 2. The third full measure, you don't need the natural sign. It's a natural anyway, but they're being clear because you just had a plow. Don't think it's got to be there. Don't think that, well, if they didn't give me the natural sign, that would still be an E flat. No, it wouldn't. It would be an E natural anyway, so don't rely on that, because another publisher might not give it to you. All right, measure 4. These thirds. I'm going to use the thumb as my pivot. I'm going to cross and I'll go here. This is common. I can't connect this, but I connect that. 1 E and now in measure 7. Here, I'm going to go 2 4 and then bring thumb down 1 3, and then I'm going to do a 1 4. I can't connect that. I connected everything else. Here. That's all right. Works for me. And then when I repeat it, because I'm here, I'm going to use second finger on the A and reach up. And then 4. This just lets me get there. I don't want to go here on both. So I'm going to go. That's how I'm going to do it. You do it however you want to. That's measure 10, or pick up to measure 10, you're here. And here, 2, and then a 1. That's fine. Measure 11 to 12, same thing. Thumb. Measure 15 is 2, 3, 4. I like that. I'd use different fingers on repeated notes a lot, and we need to get in position here. 1 and 2 and measure 17. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and get it? Okay. Measure 35, you're up here, and then measure 36, you got to go to here. And I don't like doing that. I can do that. The problem is I'm out of position now to go on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. The articulation and mood of the piece, the interpretation of the piece lets me get away with this. Otherwise, this is a terrible fingering to go here. Yuck. But I'll go ahead and do it because I want to be in this position to go on. Because that E flat's, I got to hold that down as I go here. Then they want 1/4 here. No. If I'm third here, I'm going to use 1/2. I'm going to stay right here. Here. Because I don't have to hold the F sharp down. It's not a quarter note. It's just on the D. If you don't fit up in here to do this, then you got to use fifth finger and do that. Keeps you out here. I don't know how big your hands are. And then measure 45. And then come down. I'm going to do a 2. From measure 46, here I'm going to do a 2. Not a 1. I don't want to use the same fingers. So 2. And then here. And then a 1/3 at the end. If your hand's big enough, if your hand's not big enough, you can't do a 1/3, then you have to use a different finger. You may have to do a 1/5. I don't know how big your hands are, but if it's big enough, use a 3. Left hand, well, let's see what it's doing. It's here. The half note you got to hold down because it's tied to the next half note, which is tied to the next eighth note, so it's over 2 measures. And while you hold it down, you're doing these other things. So now we have to figure out a fingering that lets me connect these other notes. Here. Well, I don't want to start with a thumb. 1, and then a 3/1, and then a 3/2, and then a 3/1. Because I held that down the whole time. So it's here. And then they want third finger. Not a lot of help there. You almost have to. Do it again. Come down. Now, when you repeat, you got an eighth note rest to come back up. But when you go on, there's no rest. So there, I'm going to use a 2 here. I don't need to go from here to here. I'm going to use a 2. Then I can collapse and I'm there. But measures 11 and 12, we have a problem. If I just do that, I ran out of fingers. So I got to go here. I'm going to use the thumb on the F natural and measure 12. And that way I have enough fingers. For measure 11, in the measure 12, it's a thumb. Then I can do a 3/4 or a 2/3. I don't care. And then treble clef, come up here. Then bass clef with a B natural. It's an E, B natural, D. This is measure 15. And then go into measure 16. And then go on. And measure 16. I don't like the idea of using thumb again, but this note is so far away and I need to connect it, I have to, pretty much. And that's okay if you want. These are awkward fingers. If you'd rather not, use third for the, so you 2, 3 if you want. Otherwise, that's good practice. We should use the awkward fingers. And then do it again. And then measure 20, is it? I'm going to do a 3/1 so I can connect these. 3/1, 2, 4. I want to connect all those. And then we go back and do that mess again some more. So put the hands together, and I'll hesitate. That's okay. I just want to know how the fingers are working together. We're here. Now, the left hand needs that note. That's just poor finger. I don't like that. So if I'm going to do that, there's a couple ways of handling this because I need to connect this. If I do that, repeat it, I can't connect it. can't connect it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that note, the pickup note in the left hand. I'm just going to tie it over. Like so. This lets me connect it. Other people would do, they would just do here. But you have a little silence. I don't want it. So I'm going to do it that way. Fast, but just work this out in this first to second full measures. Here, here, and then here, then here, these, and then here, here. And when I get something tricky like this, I forget the rhythm. I just want to know which notes are going down together. Here, then here, and then here. So I go through and I put the hands together, and then I'll go back over it just a measure or two at a time and get rid of the hesitation. Go as slow as you need to, doesn't matter, but no hesitations. Then I'll add the articulation. The staccatos, flexing of the rhythm, short. Here. So I'm connecting. That's really mostly what it is, staccatos and slurs. You get a few ornaments. Let's talk about those. Over on measure 32, that little squiggly above it, that's an inverted mode. It's play the note and the next note above it in this scale, which would be a C, and it's quickly. 3 notes. You play that note, the next note up, and then that note again. Quickly. I usually will finger these of 2, 4, 3. There's different fingerings, and it takes a little bit. So I'm going to do a thumb 2, and I do them on the beat. Like so. Then measure 40, you get it in the left hand, same thing. Whichever you can do a 2, a 3, I don't care. So then I have to play the last note in measure 39 with 4th finger to be in position. There. So putting the right hand in measure 40, or measure 39, you're here. And here. How fast you play them is what you're capable of. What are you capable of doing? If they're not triplets, don't play them. No, don't play them as triplets. Ooh. Very quickly, very quickly. Yeah. So I put in the articulation, and then I'll go back through, get rid of the hesitations again, because they'll come back. And then add the dynamics. So it applies to the melody. For the most part, it's the right hand. Soft. Accent will take them up just a little bit. So short of soft. Go. Swell up. Ba-da-da-da-da. Left hand's in the background. Set that first note. Now if I can catch it, because I played the first note in the left hand so I can tie it, I'm going to do that each time, like in measure 4. I'm going to come up. So we're soft through that, kind of soft and spooky, I guess. And measure 11, you get a crescendo, we're going to soft. Now we're loud. Left hand's in the background. Diminuendo. So in measure 16, now you're back to soft. Then and loud, soft. Wow. You think, well, that's just an accent. There. On piano it is. That's the same as an accent. But if some other instrument were actually playing this, you're loud for the whole note. It's not, an accent's just at the beginning of the note. Ba, and then but this is loud for the whole note. So it's not an accent, it's a loud note, but it just sounds the same on piano. Then an accent, very soft in the right hand, super soft in the left. The fermata, hang on to that, let it down a little bit, and then back like you were at the beginning. Sforzando there, and measure, what, 25 or so? The idea is we're playing the same thing we were playing at the beginning, but we changed it a little bit. We don't always want to play it the same way all the time, and this is how they've done it. They just added that sforzando in there to give it a little bit of different, because we didn't have a sforzando at the beginning. It's just an accent. Now it's a sforzando on measure 24. Now on measure, what, 32 or so, now you're loud. And it's smooth. Then come down, measure 36, you're loud, and then down here loud, accented. I think that's an error. I don't need an accent in the left hand if I'm not going to have an accent in the right. It's the right hand I want to hear. I'd put the accent in the right hand. And then come down. And then it's soft. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. And soft. Right hand is super soft, so we want to hear the left hand here. And pick up to measure 40. Then a measure 44, it's loud. Accent note makes that very loud. And now we're loud here in the right hand. Swell. And you back like you were at the beginning, sort of. Well, you put in the dynamics. It's better to get to know the piece well enough that you're comfortable enough with the fingering and the rhythm and everything, the notes, that you feel these dynamics. That can take a while. Start now, you'll be ready for next Halloween sometime. As I record this, this is October. So start now and you'll be ready for next Halloween. Yeah. It's just one of these things with this kind of things where like Christmas music and Easter music and so forth, when you first learn it, the first time is maybe not so good, but each year you keep coming back and playing it again, you get better and better and better at it. Yeah, so it comes eventually. Now, the only repeat sign I see is in the second line there, where you go back to the beginning. Otherwise, I guess you're playing it straight through. As far as the speed goes, well, I don't know about that. Allegretto, again, is the feel of it. If I do this, the beat, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. That's too fast. So it's not the speed of the beat, more like the eighth notes. Something like that, maybe even a little slower. I think it'd be spookier if you slowed it down a little bit. Something like that. To me, that's more of a moderato feel for the eighth notes. It's slow for the quarter notes. starting at the end there. They went the rallentando there in measure 52. Keep slowing down. And then they put a fermato over a whole measure. Generally, you just hold that measure a couple extra counts. Don't hold it too long. They may think you're done and start applauding. If it does, it just ruins the effect. So you're waiting a little bit, but not too much, just a little bit, and then go on. Just real soft. It's like just at the end, and the thing just kind of poofs away. Yeah, whatever. I don't play it very well. I haven't practiced it very much, but that should give you an idea of what it might sound like. Yeah.